had a feeling that we were going to play well today. I didn't realize that we were going to, the margin was going to be what it was because you just don't anticipate those things. But based on the way the Florida game unfolded and watching the joy in the eyes of our guys in the locker room after that game and then their approach the last 2 days, I just had a feel that we were going to play well today. I didn't know if we were going to win, but I thought we were going to play well.
Frank, you guys were sitting back in zone defense and then really attacking them in the interior. Was that something that you saw from the tape that you guys could exploit?
Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing we did to Florida. Just throw the ball inside. We kind of got away from that for a little while. And when I mean we got away from it, I'm not about to practice. And, I'm one of those guys, I truly believe if you don't ask guys to do things in practice, then don't act surprised when they don't have success in it in games. And we got a little too tricky and too fancy with some of the things we were trying to do offensively and got away from the personality of our team, which is post hard, throw that thing at the rim. What's funny, Dave, is all of a sudden now our perimeter shots start going in the basket because teams have to collapse and pay so much attention to the interior play that now guys are getting, like we all grew up, ball goes in, comes back out. So your shots or ball getting passed from the rim out. And we made them. Sometimes you run good offense and miss shots, and sometimes you run bad offense and make shots. And today I thought we ran good offense and made shots.
They cut it to 13, then you go on a 17-0 run to kind of get things back in your direction. What changed in your mind?
We got real lazy for a little window there offensively. I thought I don't want to say selfish because the one thing our guys are not are selfish. We made some poor decisions on shot selection in that stretch, and we had a couple bad turnovers. And what happens is we've been playing so well that then you have some poor decisions on offense and a couple turnovers, and then guys kind of get deflated defensively, and that's not acceptable. There's a timeout there, and that's all we talked about. Like, stop with the bad decisions, stop with the pouting, re-engage, and they did, and we threw it inside. We executed the stuff that was being called, and then the last most important stat, we didn't turn it over. And it's when we don't turn the ball over, it gives us a chance to defend.
Frank, guaranteed a winning record in conference play, top 50 RPI. How good do you feel like where you're positioned in terms of looking forward into March?
What's top 50 RPI? What does that mean? We're guaranteed a top 50 RPI?
You are right.
What is our RPI?
31.
Okay. It's, and I'm not being a smart aleck. I really have no idea. I'm being totally honest. If you ask Matt Figure, he can give you like every little detail on everything. All that stuff to me is like, there's going to be a moment where we're going to embrace all that and be proud of it. Right now, we have to stay the course. We got a chance to finish off the season the right way. You want to play your best basketball of the year now. You don't want to play it in December, and it's important that we don't get wrapped up in those successes. The past experiences, the only thing that should do to our guys is reinforce in their minds that we're a good basketball team when we play a certain way, and that should give them a comforting feeling that over how many games have we played? 28. That over 28 games we've established ourselves as a good team. That doesn't change the future. That means that we got to keep working, keep getting better, and when you're in the moment, there should be a sense of confidence that when you do things a certain way, the past experiences have proven to you that you are a good team. So go out there and do it again.
Coach, kind of sticking with that, the last two seasons, your team's kind of won those last couple of games and then had some momentum, won a couple of games in the SEC tournament. How big is that this season, especially maybe if you're playing for one of those seeds in March?
you know, every team's different. Last year, I think you guys have heard me say this here lately, last year and the year before, we were kind of on survival mode. We weren't worried about seeds, we were worried about, we've got to figure out a way to play better so we can win a game. And we need to keep that same edge. You know, we don't need to get wrapped up over what may be happening in March. That's still too far down the line. You know, our mindset has to stay the way it was last year. That keeps you on edge. And it's my job to keep those kids on edge, to communicate with them so they continue to listen to our inside voices and not the outside narrative. That way our focus stays on what matters, which is that responsibility that we have to each other to stay grounded, stay the course, keep believing in each other, and then go out there and do the best we can to play well against Mississippi State. And when Mississippi State's done, then we got to regroup and go out and play Georgia on senior day for our guys. And we just, you know, we're getting close to the finish line, but we can't worry about the finish line. We got to worry about staying in the moment as to who we are.
With Silva, he had just 2 fouls tonight. Is that something that you've discussed with him, or with him being a freshman, do you just send him out there and hope he plays hard but doesn't commit some of those fouls throughout a game?
It's because we played zone. You know, we were zone most of the time, so he didn't get isolated, you know, and have Armani Moore try and drive him and get beat on a back cut or be late on a rotation. You know, zone's a little safer. And that was part of my mindset coming into the game today, is because of Tennessee's makeup as a team. Not to play just zone, but to play a little bit more zone. And it was going so good for us that, you know, I'm not real bright, but why stop doing something that's working? And Chris was active in that zone. You know, Chris, like all young kids, still has too much drama in his game. I don't know if you understand what I mean by that. He's got to eliminate some of the drama and make the basketball play. And but that's just young kids. But his enthusiasm, it was good to see him active again. He spent 3 games where I don't think he jumped after a ball. You know, it was good to see him. You know, at Missouri, he got outrun down the court every single time. It was good to see him active and aggressive today, and that's a tremendous positive for our team.
Coach Martin, Dwayne Notice had 15 points in the first, but just 2 in the second half. How big has the scoring balance been for your team this season?
Yeah, it's when we've been good, we've had that balance. And I think I haven't even looked at the box score. I think we had kind of that balance. I got a bunch of guys in that 15 to 17 range. Am I accurate saying that? Yeah, 4 guys. Yeah, I'm kind of peeking here. It's Dwayne's a stud. You know, there's no other way. He's just a stud as a human being. And when we were in a fragile place as a team, no surprise that he has stepped up and played the way he has the last 2 games. You know, against Florida, they guard him. You know, people don't leave him alone. They know he can shoot, so they guard him. So what's he do? He has 8 assists. I don't think we've had a guy with 8 assists all year. I could be wrong. And then he comes back today, and because now Limonis is re-engaged and we're throwing it to him, and so is Mendalgas, now that defense is starting to collapse, and then all of a sudden we're making that next pass, and now he's dialed in and making shots, and he's not settling. You know, that's the other part. Sometimes he tends to settle, and he's learning when to drive, when not to drive, how deep to get on the drive, you know, which are all decisions that players have to make as they get better. And he's a stud. He as a human being, as a player, he's a real good player, and as a human being, he's an absolute stud.
Coach, back in. So Mike nails that last 3. He, you know, gives a pretty big smile to the audience a couple times, and it seems like we saw that from a few players tonight. They're just having fun playing this game right now. How special is it to you, and do you take any pride in that, watching your team have a lot of fun, especially going into such a pressure-packed month here?
Yeah, that's who we were for a large portion of the season. Those guys really, really enjoyed playing, and I think we all got too wrapped up in just not, and me included, in just nonsense, and got away from what's made our guys, you know, good, which is that trust that they have in each other. When you're around people you trust, you tend to really enjoy what you're doing, and that's evident here again, which was evident earlier in the year. The season's so long, and that's why after that Missouri game, the season's just so long, and the conference games, every one is a grind, that I thought our guys were just starting to get a little bogged down. And that's what we tried to get them to refocus, like, listen, stop. What are we worried about here? We got 9 practices, 5 games. That's it. Be excited, man. The one thing the season should tell you is you're a good team. So just be excited about what we're doing. And we were a little vulnerable going into Florida. We played pretty fair. Let's use good English here. Fairly well early, and then we had a mishap, and then we figured out a way to gut out a hard win, and then we follow that up in practice the last 2 days. Those guys have been really, really engaged, and that's why I expected us to play with that flair, that good time kind of look, body language that our guys had, and it's fun to watch.
Frank, a couple of questions. First, how is Marcus? Do you think it'll be recovered in time to play Saturday?
Yeah, it's all 3 guys that were not on the bench today woke up early, 4:30, 4:45 in the morning, body temperature shaking, and so obviously Mark Roger, our trainer, trainers don't get credit for the 24-hour-a-day job that they have. He had to deal with them, and they've been put on some medication, flu-like symptoms. The problem with them is there's a body temperature, all 3 of them. When there's body temperature, there's some kind of an infection, as we all know, so you got to keep them away from the players so they don't get everyone else sick.
And just how good was it to see PJ respond, especially after that first turnover to get 6 assists?
Yeah, his last 2 practices were the best 2 practices he's had since possibly October. That's how good he earned the starting point guard job on this basketball team. But he's a young kid, and but the last 2 days, and I didn't call him in, and I didn't meet with him, and I didn't explain to him why he didn't play. I didn't do any of that stuff. I needed to see how he handled that situation. And whether we would have had Marcus or not, PJ was going to play a lot of minutes today because of his preparation the last 2 days. And no surprise that you guys watch the games just like me. That's as aggressive as I've seen him in a game in a long time. He was making plays for others. He was not being lazy with the ball. And I'm happy because he's an unbelievable kid who's got world of talent that just has to, like the previous question, has to forget the pressures and the nonsense that comes with college basketball and games. Just relax, enjoy your teammates, trust in what you're doing, and go out there and enjoy. And that's what he did.
Frank, obviously they played without punter there, who makes a difference for them. But given that situation, how pleased were you with the kind of on-the-ball defense of their ball handlers to try so they weren't getting comfortable in their new role?
Yeah. We played man for, I don't know, probably the first 8, 10 minutes of the game, and our man-to-man was pretty good. We didn't go to the zone because we couldn't guard them. We went to the zone because they had a certain lineup in the game, and I had a certain lineup. I said, let's try the zone. And first we tried the 3-2 zone, then we went to the 2-3 zone. The 2-3 zone was better for us. And then, like I said, it was working, so why get out of it? However, the mindset that we created against Florida and again today, with Dwayne guarding that ball, and now Sindarius and Mike denying passing lanes and using their strength and their aggression to push the first catch further out on the floor, has allowed us to start games the right way. And that's a big part of what we try to do defensively. And Dwayne Dwayne's a bulldog on that ball now. Dwayne on, when that ball's crossing that half-court line, he's been in it for 3 years. He knows how important that is to our system, and he believes in it, and he's sitting on that line, and he's going to make that point guard. You might get him early, but as the game progresses, you're going to realize he ain't going anywhere. Excuse my improper English again. He's going to be sitting there waiting for you next time, he's got a toughness about him guarding the ball at the half-court line that gives the guys behind them a lot more confidence to be more aggressive. Who's making their deadline?